This is the ES-based version of pyromantic pact barrier invocation Infernalist. A little different than the other builds. We're using passive ES recovery to sustain instead of Eternal Youth or damage recoup. It uses mostly rare items. The gameplay loop is still the same, using a curse, trigger the barrier, which sets it off again, letting you do that. So I have about 1 second between casts. It works a little differently while mapping. And bosses, I do have to slow down for that 1 second window. It hasn't been too bad, but if you're getting hit, it takes longer. And I can't stand in one place, I still have to keep moving. I'm not as defensive. Gems is a little bit different. So we have a few options. Currently on this setup, Comet's doing about 20,000. It's level 24. If I go any higher, the mana cost is too high. Spell Echo. Considered casting. Increased maximum energy. I don't have to run the increased energy with this. I have enough elsewhere to make it work. Few options. I've used Spell Cascade. This gives a lot of area coverage, but the lowest amount of damage. It looks cool, so that's a perk, but I think it's probably the worst. Magnified Effect gives a balance. Still in the same damage. You're getting more area. Don't have to hit those stragglers as often when you're running around. And then the highest damage option, smallest area coverage, so concentrated effect. You can see the comet up to 28,000 it says there. There may be more options I haven't tried out yet. So I think I'm more on the magnified effect just for that middle ground, but I've been using Spell Cascade because it looks better. Grim Feast, covering energy shield while mapping, so that lets you set this into a pack, run through, pick up the souls, and then keep moving. Arctic Armor is for hits, freezes them. I want to use that blink setup, I just don't have enough spirit right now. Hypothermia for standard cursing, triggering the pack when things maybe get off loop. And then Temporal Chains is in my curse or weapon swap. So I'm running Whispers of Doom. I like to run Ritual and Expedition. I set this down first, and I have a shield that lets me block if I'm taking a few hits from projectiles. Frostbomb to apply exposure, strip away more duration. I actually don't really use that much except on bosses. And then I saw Deranged Engineering was using Eye of Winter to apply critical weakness. I think I'll try incorporating this more. I have very slow cast speed, so it's awkward. You know, you can still cast Comet while doing this, but it's a little clunky. Gearing is a lot different. We're using all rare items. I have just a standard +4 spell skills. I got max mana to balance for me. You don't need that. That's just to make the loop a little more comfortable. And then I have standard resistances and life energy shield bases on all of these. So there's nothing special you need on gloves, boots, or helm. Just resistance, life, ES. The base of your chest is important. You need an altar robe with faster energy start recovery. So it's about 43 to 50%. This makes a big deal. And then you need 60% reduced ignite duration. Pyromantic Pact could ignite you. I used to think it could crit you, but when the base hit is high enough, it looks like I've been told it ignites you. So that prevents any recovery or casting for that period of time, and you're taking a lot more damage. 60% on the body armor gets us most of the way there. The rest I cover in the tree. Focus with flat ES, cold damage, and any stats you need to cover. I would probably have socketed +1 maximum fire resistance, but when I got some of these items, I didn't really have what I needed at the time. A weapon swap, I'm using Rise of the Phoenix, a cheap shield to just block. I can still cast, barrier invocation with this. It's just a little bit different, but this is mostly just for defense. So Temporal Chains, swapping back to go back to regular once I get a little more recovery. So with my focus, I'm at 340% and then 3,900. You just need a short window where you can start to build that recovery. It's less with the shield, so I don't stay here too long. When I'm done blocking, I swap back. You're getting, I have 85 max fire, 76, 74 I was chaos capped. I lost a point somewhere. Minus 100% ignite duration. I'm no longer igniting myself at all. When triggering the pact, then altered flesh is giving cold and light in his fire. So elemental damage is reduced a lot. I thought it should say chaos taken as, or Fizz taken as chaos from that node. I don't know if it's working. So not sure about that. For passive tree, it's different. We're taking as much maximum energy shield and increased energy shield recharge rate. That's not as important. It does help a lot. But the faster start of energy shield recharge is what I'm looking at. So to get 340%, I've taken every node that's on my way through to get that high. The rest is coming from sapphires. The most important stats being meta skills gain increased energy, faster start of recharge, and 14% maximum ES. The fourth stat can be flexible with what you need. For example, here I have 10% maximum energy shield stun threshold. I felt like without it, I was getting stunned occasionally. You can just pick up a skill point to help with that too. But this jewel seems to have it covered. When I path up through here, I'm taking this jewel node is the most important. It is against the darkness, where I'm using 5% reduced ignite duration and +1 maximum fire. So with my first weapon, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skilled nodes with +1 maximum fire, and then I have 2 rubies with +2 maximum fire, and this node getting me up to 85. I've taken enough small skill points to get that minus 100% reduced duration, no longer getting ignited. When I use my weapon swap, I still have to take points in here to stay at 100%. It's just more utility focused and less damage. We're trying to get more curse effect and area of effect. So for the meta skills increase, I've dropped 1 point from here just because my energy gain is enough that I don't need it. It's a pretty tight balancing act for all of this. I don't really, I can't explain each individual. It's going to come down to you're balancing the max fire resistance with ES, life, and energy gain increase. But I have worked my way down here to take the other nodes as well. I plan on taking, I think, maybe more crit. I did have climate change. I think that's probably a good damage node to have. I just wanted to see how it felt with maybe using an extra jewel, so I may drop these 4 and go back into this pretty soon. Not too sure yet. I am taking this plus maximum mana down here. It's just because, you know, with the 10% reduced, I haven't anointed anything else, and it's ended up being awkward, so I needed a little more mana. Ideally, I would get rid of that. Same talents, we're taking Pyromantic Pact, but I'm taking the hand node to get more max energy shield, and since I'm ignited immune, I can take more critical damage bonus. In the past, I've taken this node. This has let me run elemental conflux. I'd rotate through the elements. It was like convection of elements from Diablo 3. I felt like it was fun to play through, but I wasn't really using it that optimally. It's kind of awkward, but it was fun, so I may swap back to that in the future, because I ended up getting about 240 spirit. I had 2,000 life at that point because I was using this shield instead of a focus. So a shield is an option instead, but the energy shield, energy gain requirements get worse. Instead of building up 3 stacks every time, I was only building up 2 and about 70%, and that was the loop. So it would just be 2 and 70%. I'd fire out a volley of 4 comets while blocking the whole time. So yeah, that's it. Did 2 maps, 2 T15s, one with corrupted with a few mods, one with a lot. One is done with spell cascade, and the other is done with concentrated effect. I'll show how those two went and kind of talk about the differences.
if it isn't the traitor herself. Let's get this over with.
Itching for me to lose another limb, are ya?
Suffer! It's about time.
So for those two maps, I was using Spell Cascade for the first one. The clearing was nice, moving through at a quicker pace, but the boss damage was lower. There were fewer mods on the map, so it was pretty easy. The second one had a lot of mods on it, and I was using Concentrated Effect. The less area effect was really annoying for killing those stragglers. You know, it had to snipe each one of them individually and roll around a lot the whole time. But the boss damage was a lot higher. So I see it needs a little mix of both. Some notes for the end game. I've been playing mostly blind. I haven't looked at like the bosses and stuff like that. I have, seen some things on how to set up your end game tree, but I don't know how this is going to hold up against these like strong level 4 bosses. You might not get there. Doesn't seem like it'll be instantly deleting them. You'll have to dodge and play around, things like that. So hopefully it gets there. I can't guarantee that it will. If you're looking for how the build works at its core, I would suggest maybe checking somebody else out. Deranged Engineering was posting a lot of videos on how it works and certain breakpoints you need to meet the energy gain. And then Phil has just a build where he's just destroying everything. So check them out if you're looking for something a little stronger, and based the recovery is a little stronger too. But this one works pretty well so far. It just might not really get to those super pinnacle areas. It could, but I don't know.